So you know how to use fill parameter, but we haven't discussed two additional functions there. One is how to add image, and another one how to add a video. If you remember in the very beginning when we started discussing shapes, when you click here, you see place image or video. And usually we use that when we have shape already added, or at least when we have a frame. So let's add images and videos and let's understand how to work with them. Again, it's the same parameter, and we start with creating a shape first. I create a rectangle. Again, you can use absolutely any shape that you want. I use rectangle just because it's much easier to understand this concept when we're using the simplest shapes as possible. And then later I'll show you where else you can add your images and videos to. So I created this rectangle. Now let's go to fill parameter because that's exactly what we're discussing today. Go here and select image. Now you see that all the parameters below has changed as well. You see choose image and then you see some additional parameters. When you click on choose image, you can choose the image from your computer. And let's imagine I'll go with something that I created before, like this post. And this is what you see here. So the image was added. Before I start playing with this image here, I want to show you that immediately once you switch to the image or video mode, you will see these additional parameters for editing. These parameters allow you to edit your image. Some of the parameters like exposure, contrast, saturation, temperature, tint, highlights, and shadows directly here from Figma. It's not as powerful as Photoshop, for example, but it's still sometimes it's super useful to know that you can change the exposure, for example, you change the contrast of your image, you can increase saturations, change temperature, tint, highlights, and shadows. The best way to discuss it and describe it will be when we'll start working with plugins. I'll show you how to install plugins and how to use one of the plugins, and then I'll show you what each of these parameters allow you to do. For now, let's focus on the fill parameters. As you can see, we added image here, and we see it here. But what else do we see on the screen? We see fill, and we can click and we see that we can change the type of the fill to fit, crop, and tile. And also we see like 100%. What does it mean? We'll discuss it later. And then we have this rotate 90 degrees, which means that we can rotate the image within our shape to the angle that we want. Sometimes it's super useful, for example, when you want to change shadow, how the shadow will be cast on the shape if you need that. So by default, it's fill. Okay, let's close now. And you see, while the image that I added was much taller, I don't see the entire image here. Why so? Because we set the parameter to fill. So the image will fill the available height and width of the shape. If I change the shape of the size of my shape that I created before, then I will see that image will fill the available height and width. So there are no empty space from left, right, top, or bottom here. But what will happen, for example, if I change the size of the shape to, let's imagine this one, and change the type of the fill to fit. Well, in this case, the size of the shape will be taken into consideration, but the image will fit this particular shape to show the entire image, no matter what. So here, the most important becomes kind of the image. Image will define like I wanna show the entire image. With fill, shape is the most important. And usually in UI design, in web design, we're using fill because we want to fill the entire space, and we know exactly that the shape that we created for our element will be filled with the image entirely. What else do we see here? We see the parameter crop. When I click on that, I see the size of the shape itself, and I see where exactly the image is. And we see that the image goes outside of our shape. This is super useful and convenient, for example, when you want to take a particular element. You have a photo, let's imagine, or this image, and you want to take a particular element and highlight it in your shape that you created. So it means that I can hover on the image and I can move it to the position that I want. Moreover, I can select Shift, hold Shift, and change the size of it to show users, for example, only this part. Let's imagine I want to show only Instagram carousel, and that's it. So it will be like this. Now when I click outside of this area, boom, I see in my shape only that particular part that I defined before. Usually you can see it when you are creating, for example, avatar, when you are uploading avatars anywhere. Let's imagine the shape in this case will be just a circle. And for the circle, let's go fill, image, choose image, and let's imagine I don't have the photo of myself anywhere here, but let's go with this image, but I choose crop. I select the image itself, we'll make it much bigger, just to take the photo of myself, make it even bigger, and boom, this is what I want to see on my avatar. So basically I can take any particular, using crop, I can take any particular element from the image that I'm adding, and I'll fit it in this particular shape that I created. If you don't want to go like select the image, then go here, then crop here, and then choose. Instead of that, what you can do, you can hover on the shape, hold Option or Alt on PC, and double click on the image. And then you will go to a crop mode and you will see the entire image inside. This is how it works. So what happened? Yes, in Figma you can rotate and mirror the image that you created. Sometimes it can be, again, useful when you are creating, let's imagine, when you want to take a particular shape, shadow for the element and put it and reflect it. This way you can use reflection. The same way you can select the image itself, and when you move it to another side, you see it's not reflecting. But if you press Shift H, then the image will be reflected. If you reflect it horizontally, if you press Shift V, then it will be reflected vertically. Shift V, Shift H. Yeah, additional shortcuts for your efficiency. And one last parameter that we haven't discussed yet is here I can select tile. And tile will create the repeated background. When I set the image smaller, I can have in the given shape as many elements as I want, just by simply making it smaller here in the preview mode, or by changing the what's the size, what the percentage of the actual size of the image I want to use here. And the entire image is 1350 by 1080. And here I can change it to just 1% of that size. Boom. And this is how many elements I'll see. This is super useful when we will start creating, will be super useful when we will start creating patterns, where you will be able to create patterns like Gucci style pattern, Louis Vuitton pattern, Chanel pattern, or maybe you will create a pattern for a messenger. Maybe you're designing a messenger or any graphic design element. You will be able to create patterns using tile. How to do that, I'll show you in the next module. But here, just remember that under the fill option, when you select image, you can choose the image and you can change, first of all, 4 types of placement of this image: fill, fit, crop, and in this case you can change the image inside of the shape, and tile. Then for tile you can change the size of that particular image. You can also rotate the image within the shape, and also you can change the you can edit particular elements like exposure, contrast, saturation for this image directly here in Figma. Sometimes it's super useful, especially when you're working with photos, not elements that you just created like here, but when you're working with photos. Let's imagine like this photo. I select and I can change exposure, make it brighter or darker. I can change contrast, higher or lower. I can change saturation to make it super saturated or desaturated at all. I can change temperature, make it warmer or cooler. I can change tint, make it like red, bring it to red side, or make it greener. I can change highlights, which means that the brightest elements, the brightest pixels will become brighter, or they become darker. And the same with shadows. The darkest points will become lighter or darker. And you can change them together. For example, you can change the shadows, make them brighter, highlights, make them a little bit brighter, tint a little bit to the red side, a little bit warmer, saturate a little bit more, contrast, let's make it lower, and exposure, let's make it a little bit lighter. Then you close it, and this is the image that you have. While by default, you had a completely different feeling of this image. So it was green, now it's completely different, a little bit warmer, a little bit more attractive. So this is what you can do directly here from Figma. In addition to that, what's cool here, that when you created a shape, and let's imagine that we decided to create a polygon in this case, and for this polygon, I'm going to add like 6 sides here. You can click here in the shapes and place image. Click here, place image. And then a folder on your computer will be opened. And from your computer, you can select, let's go to UI colors, for example. And let's select the image, open. And now you can choose where you want to paste this image. You can put it on text, you can put it on different shapes that you already have, you can put it on the frames that you created, or you can put it on inside of the shape that you created. So I click here and boom, now we created this amazingly looking shape with the image inside of it. Similar to that, again, let's create a rectangle. What you can do every single time when you create something from the panel, take a look at the shortcuts that it gives you, Figma gives you. In this case, you see that Shift Command K or Shift Control K on PC. When I press Command Shift K, the folder will be automatically opened, and from here I can select the image. I can go to absolutely different folder, click open, paste, boom, done. I just pasted the image inside. Again, remember that I told you that you can hold Option or Alt and double click, and now you can change how this image will be cropped inside. You can achieve this effect directly from here. And similar to that, you can do the same with videos. When you select here, and instead of image, you select video, and now choose video. Here I have a couple of videos, and let's imagine I take this one, open, and now the video is created. I can click play, and I'll see in the preview mode what's the actual video look like. Also, I can stop it here. I can play and see on the playback where it will be and what the preview, as you can see, I can set what the preview will be here in this section. But what's also cool from here, you can add, this is GIF, you can also add videos. So that was GIF. More file is not created here because we're in the GIF mode. This is part of the image. So when you select video, choose video, select video, open here. It takes a little bit time depending on the size of the video, and then video will be created. And the same parameters here, you can play it and you see the preview. You can see the preview of this video. Yeah, the video takes time and it's also pretty long one. When you take a shorter video, you will see it. Much faster way to see this video is actually to press play, go to present mode, and then you will see that the video is playing here. You see the sparks going up. So this is the video that we just added. Same way with GIF, I can change this, choose video, choose this one. I go to the preview mode, and now I have a different video inside. In this case, even if it's GIF or GIF, if you prefer this type of naming graphic elements that are moving inside of the frame. This is how you work with video. Same way with images, you can place it using Command-Shift-K, and from here you select the video and paste it in inside of that element. You press play to see what it will look like. You wait a little bit, and once it's loaded, it will start playing automatically. Autoplay in this case. Done. If you don't want to see the entire frame, so in the preview mode, Figma shows you the frames that you have. So if you want to see this specific frame, only this particular element in your preview mode, in this case you have to put it inside of the frame. There are lots of ways to do that, but one of the fastest way, and I described it already, if you press Command Option G, or on PC it's Control Alt G, then the frame will be created automatically. Then you go to the preview mode, you will see this particular element, but when you move the element out of your frame, you go here, and here you can select another frame. You see here frame 1 of 2, frame 2 of 2, and you see only the second frame. I want to show you that when you're creating a frame, inside of the frame, you'll still see only the frame, the main frame, the parent frame. And in the preview mode, you will be able, in this presentation mode, you will be able to see only frames that are separate from each other. So just keep it in mind when you want to see the presentation, or when you want to show the presentation. Done. What else I want to show you? I want to show you that in addition to that, when we go and talk about this G for video, you can also set fit, you can set crop, similar to images, and you can set tile. And let's set it like 10% or 5%. Have lots of these different elements. This is really cool when you're creating graphic design presentations, or even when you're presenting your UIs. you can put lots of elements, repetition. Remember about the law of repetition. Lots of elements that will be completely the same. Let's go to, oh, it's not, it's outside of the frame, it's not in the frame, so Command Option G. So now it's frame, I can select it here, and now I'll see all of them are moving. This is a really cool effect, especially when you are creating, for example, out of this video, inside of this element, if you change it to a, let's imagine isometric view, you can take a look how to create it in the isometric design and illustrations module. Here I changed the 773 and now it's isometric view, and now when I select this frame and I go here, everything will be in the isometric view. Like all the videos will be played, but now in isometric view. This is how you can play and create all these different incredible effects right in Figma. Let's remove it here and go back to our elements. So now you know how to add images, different types like variants, how to edit them, how to variants. By variants I mean you can create different variations of the same image. So this is the same image as this one, and it is this one, depending on editing and depending on the type of placement you chose. Fill, fit, crop, tile. If I change for this image from tile to fill, and here from crop to fill, and I deselect all these changes in our editing mode, I see exactly two same images. But this is what we can achieve just by playing with this image and video parameter here. I hope that you understood everything here, and now you can play with images and videos when we'll start working creating websites, for example, and they will be 1440 by 900, for example, and on the left side you will have heading, then below you will have description, and you remember that you can change the color of the description to something a little bit bluish and a lighter version of it, like this. But on the right side, this is kind of our hero section. On the right side, most likely you will have, this is pretty popular, you will have an image. So text on the left, image on the right, Command-Shift-K, you will select the image on your computer or video, you will place it in your hero section of your website, and then you can press play, and you will have a hero section. Super simple. Of course, we don't have particular design here, but I want to show you this is how you add images or videos to your websites, and this is how you play with them. Now go and play with your parameters. Fill parameter. Now you know exactly how to work with colors, gradients, and now you know how to add images and videos. In the next lesson, we'll be talking about plugins, because one of the plugins we'll be using in our next module, in the graphic design module, and it will help you to work, like, I would say 10 times faster just because of one plugin. And I'll also show you how to install plugins in Figma, how to remove them, and also what exact plugins do you need. And we'll start with just one plugin, and then we'll continue adding some more while working with them. See you in the next lesson.